I'm live. All right, good. All right, so this is gonna be a very fast mod. So basically, all I did was I went into the demo and I grabbed a new skull that's in Tekken 8, and we're just gonna go ahead and throw it on a character for Tekken uh, 7, right? Cool, right? Super simple, right? Now, when you export from F model, it uses a PSK format. If you're using Blender, if you're not familiar with Blender, there's like a billion tutorials online. You just need to, if you're doing modding, you know, I need to change this music. This music is wilding. It's crazy. What is this? Let me find a new genre or song. Music, acoustic or song. Let's try that. All right, mad chill, you know what I mean? Let's bring it down. Okay, so my bad. All right, so yeah. If you need to get the model into Blender and whatnot, that's just gonna be like, I'm not gonna go over all of that. Any file type you have, but what you can bring into Blender is a UASIF file or like a game file, or certain files like scene files from like 3ds Max and some Cinema 4D and Maya files. You have to convert them to like a general 3D format, which I believe is FBX, GLTF, PSK, and then you can also get a lot of add-ons for Blender for free to bring in a lot of different file types. So if you got like a special MMD, PML file or something you want to bring in, there's most likely an add-on out there, or at least some guidance on how to get it in. But once you get it in, that's fine. Now this is going to be a simple one. We're not going to use many bones. This is the bone structure for Tekken 8, but we're not going to use that. So I got the model in here. Now the first thing I do is go ahead and grab whatever model I want to replace or whatnot, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and open up U model, and you can use F model, but I can't switch back and forth between the two the way I have my stuff set up. So I'm gonna go to where I keep my, oh, I must have deleted it. I think I yeeted it out of here. So let's go ahead and grab a new one, I guess. All right, so if we go U model, ooh, let's keep that, I don't want to lose that. I will go to U model, bam, UE viewer, just download a new one. All right, we go, where's that? Downloads. And let's see. What's all this? I don't know what all this is, but I'm using it. Here we go. Bam. I think I hit download. Did it download? No, here we go. Cool. Nice. So I'm just gonna go to downloads, whatever. So, takes like 2 seconds. I got like a million copies now. All right, cool. So you just go into here. And I could just grab this stuff. Yep. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab all of this, and I think I could just copy it, right? I don't know. And I'm gonna go to where I have my packs are for my Tekken 7, and just gonna drop it in there. Boop, there we go. Easy as pie. All right. So now I'm just gonna open up U model. What? I'm being protected. Oh, what are you talking about? U model? Run anyway, baby. I don't know why that popped up. Okay. All right, so you'll get this screen. Just hit override, go down to U Engine 4, scroll all the way down to Tekken 7, and you're good. If you don't do this stuff, it's gonna ask you for a key when you try to open up certain things. There's no key, so do this and you're set. So I'm gonna pick a character to throw this on. Let's see. Let's throw it on. Let's see who we're gonna give a skull to. Let's give it to. We'll give it to Brian. Let's give it to Brian. Give it to Brian. All right. Now I'm blind, so I gotta use this magnifying glass. I hope it doesn't show up on the screen, but it is what it is. All right. So we're gonna go into here, right? So I got my game structure. I'm gonna go to character. I'm gonna go to items, and I'm looking for a head item I'm gonna replace. So I'm going to meshes, and the head items are pretty much common, so I'm actually just going to replace the actual skull asset in here, right? And that's a full head item, so I'm going to go here, go over there, and I'm going to look for skull. Nice. And now I'm just going to grab Brian's, which is right here, and I'm going to hit export down here and make sure they're the same PSK or whatever. And I'm using TGA format, but you can use PNG, it's fine. You can use GLTF also. Blender automatically accepts GLTF. But I think the PSK skeletons are more accurate. Depends on what you're doing. Some people swear by them. It's whatever. But I'm going to use the PSK for now, so I said okay. Alright, so that extracts, and if you haven't used this before, it extracts to wherever you set up this folder to be. You can also right click and export, and it will do it without giving you that box if you've already had it set up. Otherwise, I think there might be a default folder, I don't know, but I digress. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this big again, and I want to get this in the game. So I'm gonna have to use this importer, and I found this online, just searching, it's free add-on somewhere. But you're looking for a Unreal Engine importer or a PSA, PSK importer to set up for Blender. And now I'm just gonna go to where I have it saved, and I keep all my stuff here. Meshes, Brian, and I have to make sure. Well, wait, was I doing it right? Did I not export it? Oh, you know what I did? I know what I did. All right, I went to item, meshes, and I went to Brian, but it's not in Brian's folder. It's a common item, so it's in here. So I'm looking for a full head, and it should be here. Did I not do it? Oh, you know what? I didn't set it up, because I forgot I just got a new one. So let me go ahead and set that back up again. Yeah, it sent it to this Unreal export folder I don't use. So let's see. Ticket 7, select folder. And then I always do it a second time just in case. Sometimes it doesn't read right away. There we go. Nice. Alright, so go to meshes and just import it. Cool. Very nice. Now if you're using Blender, you may not have to do like there's a guide on how to set up Tekken, how to mod for Tekken on tekkenmods.com. I would check that out. You might have to go in and change one of like the IO scripts things in the back of a Blender. You might not. I've already done it like a long time ago, so I'm not going to go through that process. But if you have trouble, that might be something you need to get done. But okay, so I digress. So we're back on this. So I'm going to click on this armature, and I need it to be the right size. So I'm going to look here, and it says it's at 1:1. To make sure, I'm just going to import a GLTF real quick, just so I know. Game character. And I'm just doing this to get the size, because I'm pretty sure we'll go full body. Any full body, doesn't matter. Okay, so this is too small. Alright, so the default size when it comes in, so I'm going to click on the Tekken armature, and if you click on it, you'll see you've got your mesh, and then you've got the armature it's attached to. So I'll click on the armature, and I'm going to scale this up to 100. Some people don't do this, some people do. This is like you could say it's the old OG style, I don't know. But it's to help make sure the dimensions are good. And when you bring it over to Unreal, because of the way Blender and Unreal communicate or something, I don't know. But no, I digress. Okay, so we're back. I made sure both of them are upscaled up to 100. I'm gonna hit A, then I hit Control A, all transforms. And while I'm in here, let's see if this add-on works. Let's see. I go back in. Alright, screen. Okay. Here we go. Start. There we go. Nice. Let's set it up to. Should I make this bigger? There we go. Nice bigger mouse. Make the text a little bit bigger as well. Alright, so that should show what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Alright, cool. Nice. Alright, so I've got everything the right size. When the A, Control A, all transforms, make sure everything is set. So now my scale, instead of being at 100, it's at 1. And we're set to go. So this is a pretty straightforward process. If I go in here, you got to know a little bit about weight painting, but the basics of it. And actually, I don't like PSK. I don't like their bone structure, but I guess it doesn't matter 100%. I have a asset, or I have a thing here called modding tools. I think I put it in the Tekken Zaibatsu or Tekken modding Discord or whatever. But it's a quick little add-on I made to help me set up these bones. So I hit it, and what it does is it splits my bones into channels. So right now I only have one layer, right, of my bones, and I'm gonna switch my bones over to octahedral because I like the triangles. Okay, so I'm going to hit this organize thing, and you don't see anything really change, but if now you see all these different layers are here. And I have this set up for like a base layer for fingers, major parts of the eyes and head, eyebrows, all that good stuff. But I just need the head. And we're gonna see how everything is moving. So with the head selected, I'm gonna hold shift and then click on the mesh. Oops, make sure to do it again. Oop. Click the bones first, then the mesh. Weight paint. If I hold control and click on a bone, it'll highlight it, and I can move it around with like short button keys. I'm gonna hit R to move it around. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at how this works. So basically the neck, the base of it is stuck somewhere, and the head is just kind of like on top. And if I want to see the actual weights, I can go over here, take a look, and I can just slide through, right? Oops, click over here and then hit down. And so I can see most everything is set to this head offset and neck offset. And then there's two little ones here for the collarbones. And one for the spine too. But we're gonna do this real simple. We're gonna make it all super simple. We're just gonna use the spine too and the head. Alright, so this one has groups and stuff on it too, but for this project I don't need them. So what I'm gonna do is one, I'm gonna hit right click, yep, and then parent, and I'm gonna clear the parent. That way I can delete these bones. Boop, bones are gone. Now I'm gonna click on this, right click, and go to set origin so that my little cursor is right in the middle, and I'm just gonna move it up so it kind of matches. It doesn't have to match exactly. And it would be best if I used an actual character's head for this, so that way it lines up correctly, or at least their body. So I might do that also, but for now I'm just gonna line it up by sight. All right, you can go up here and play with these settings if you want to. And let's see, try to get it like close to where it might be. And like I said, this part isn't necessary, but I don't know. And actually, I do want to get a body for reference. So what I'm going to do, I have a bunch of, if you need the bodies you'll find in the generic section as well. There's a naked upper body that's pretty good. So for the guys, so just go into here, look for naked, find your character. In this case, Brian. Export. Boom. Now let's go ahead back to my add-on, import Brian's body. So I was looking for an upper, naked, meshes, got Brian, bam. I'm gonna hit reorg. Oh, I don't know if I need to do that. It's not a big deal. So I brought it in and it's really teeny tiny. So I'm just gonna come over here with the armature selected, make that 100. Boom. Then make sure both of those are selected. Control A, all transforms. And this way I can line up this head to fit on this body. So I'm gonna get rid of this skull for now. And we're gonna go back into this mode. And I'm going to, we'll say T8 skull, so I know what it is. And I'm gonna hide these bones for now. And we're gonna make sure this thing fits on the head. And I use the orthographic views so that way I don't get things shifted like a little bit to the left or the right. I want it centered as much as possible. And so I'm just gonna hit S to scale. We'll scale it up a little bit, and let's I don't know how big his head actually is, so we're just gonna mess around with it a little bit. Just gonna set it on there. Alright, we're not gonna actually use this body, but we can use it to get some weights, which I'll do in a moment. I think the head might be too tall. You think? Go to X-ray mode. I'm gonna turn on these bones so I can see where the head is. I think that's too high. So what's gonna happen? This is gonna turn once I set the weights, and this will be the pivot point. And right now it's gonna pivot at the bottom of the jaw, which I don't want, right? So this will be more natural like this, but it doesn't look good on the bottom based on the way their head is set. So I'm gonna have to make some changes so that it sets and fits right. And I'm gonna hit everything and then hit right click, shade smooth, just so that I don't have to look at that really poly looking stuff. Alright, and let's fix this head. So I'm gonna hit Control A, all transforms, because I just love doing that. But I'm gonna go ahead and add a lattice. Lattice, where you at? Lattice, there we go. And it's gonna show up as your cursor, which is at the bottom. I'm gonna hit S to scale, bring it up. And I'm just gonna click on my head and my lattice by holding shift, and then hit backspace to hide everything. And I'm gonna resize this lattice to fit my head. So I'm just gonna scale it down initially to be maybe that wide. I'm gonna hit S, Z to make it taller. Move it up. And move over so it's about centered. And SY to make it depth. And SX. Alright, cool. So now I'm gonna parent this mesh to this lattice. So I'm just gonna get So I'm gonna click on this mesh and then hold shift and click on this. So it's the active one, which you know by the light orange. I'm gonna go to parent. I should be able to say lattice object. Yep, lattice to form. Alright, cool. So now when I click on the lattice, it moves around, right? Now if I go into edit mode and there we go. I select one of these little points, make sure I've got my cursor thing. I can move things around, right? Crazy stuff. But I use the lattice rather than sculpting for some of this stuff because of the amount of control you get, and it doesn't really change and stretch the actual mesh. Right? It's all calculated, so it still looks good. Whereas if you've done any experience with using sculpting, it'll pull the actual like polygons and stuff around, and you can do that just fine. But this is non-destructive, so if I do a bunch of crazy stuff and I don't like it, I can just like unparent it and it goes away. Try again. All right, so the lattice is set up as a little box, and we're gonna set it up into sections. If you use like Puppet Warp and um, like Photoshop or something, it's kind of like that. So I always forget which is what. So I just try out. I'm like, okay, this is the front, so we're gonna split the front up, eh, by like say 4, and then let's split the split that by 4 as well, and we'll do a little bit more for this one. And all I'm really trying to do is I want the neck area to kind of like come out and sit on top of the body a little bit more. All right, so I'm gonna hit backspace to bring everything back. And now in edit mode, I can go ahead and start making some changes. So what I usually do is just make sure I've got X-ray mode set on, and I select all of that, and then just hit SX and start moving stuff around. Right, and I just grab it in chunks. Okay, there we go. And I think the back part I need to come up a little bit. Yeah. So let's see. So I'm gonna click on that, hold shift, click on that, and we're gonna just move this up. Actually, let's do this for the whole section here. All right. Cool. And I want these parts to move out, so I'm gonna hit SX to stretch them out. There we go. And let's go back to invisible mode. And so this whole front section needs to come out. But I don't want this part to come out, right? So, hide that? No, I can't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the amount of lines going this way, which I think is this one. Yep. So I can better isolate the areas that I want to affect or not affect. So I don't really want to mess with that bottom part too much. I do need this part to move, come out. I might not be able to help it too much. And I'm not gonna make it perfect, although I really want to make it perfect, because that's just the way I am. But I don't want this to be a super long video. And we're gonna fix this chin somehow. Let's grab these pieces and say, let's bring this one back in. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to increase this more. Let's bring that back in. All right, there we go. Move. Okay, so for the most part, it's out and it looks good. I just didn't want it looking crazy. So what I can do is I can click on this and hold Shift D to make a duplicate of it, right? And as you can see, when I moved it around, it was all crazy. And then I'm gonna hit H to hide that one. And now, oops, I'm gonna not, before I do that, I'm gonna hit backspace, so I just have this one, right? And I'm gonna go to Control A, all transforms, and then I'm going to apply the lattice. So you can apply the lattice by going in here and applying it, or if you want to do a bulk apply all modifiers, you can go out to object and convert to mesh. If you do that, armatures are a modifier, so it'll just apply whatever pose to that mesh. So if you don't want to do that, make sure you go over here and just do them individually. But okay, cool. So we got that. I'm gonna name it just so I know what it's called. We'll call this one skull adjusted. All right, I'm gonna hide it, and this should be the one. Okay, so see, this one's still parented, and this one is it's the modifier is off, but it's still parented. So if I move this lattice, both of them are still gonna move. So I'm going to with that selected parent, clear parent, and it should go down here, right? And I set the geometry as transforms, but I'm gonna go ahead and set it back to origin. Origin to geometry, so I can move it around. Okay, cool. All right, so let's hide that. Now this one, like I said, I think if I just delete that, the head goes back to normal. See? There you go. So now the head is back to normal. It's not parented to anything because there's nothing to parent it to. And I have two versions, right? I've got thick neck and I've got this one. So if you want to, I usually keep like a folder sometimes of like backups. So let's make a new collection. And I'm just gonna say, I don't know, backups. And we'll just toss that one in there. And I'm gonna click this so it's hidden. Click on this eye to bring it back. Okay, cool. So now we're good. So now we got a head on our body here. And let's go ahead and now we're gonna go ahead and use the sculpt mode to fix it. So I'll go into sculpt mode and I'm gonna go down here to the elastic to form. I'm going to make sure this is set to X. I'm going to bring the strength down a little bit and increase the size. And you know that you're good if you've got two yellow dots on each side, or whatever color it is that you're using. If this is off center, it's still going to be using the global environment. So if this is off to the right, then say I want to move this muscle or something, then this muscle and then whatever is directly on the other side of that in that same space will move. So keep that in mind when you're doing your stuff. But I'm just going to go ahead and bring these up a little bit. Try to keep it relatively gentle. I don't want to be too crazy. And since this is all one like mesh part, it shouldn't be that much of an issue. And if it's clipping a little bit, that's fine. Unless you don't want it to clip and then, you know, be as specific as you want to be. All right, cool. So we got this head on here. Very nice. This head might be too big. I don't even know. I don't really care. So we're gonna go ahead and get this set up to work with this mesh. Yep. So first things first, I need to hit A, Control A, all transforms. I'm going to go ahead and parent this to this rig, right? So this is second rig. So I'm going to grab this skull adjusted and I can hold shift and click on a bone, or I can do it all in the outliner by clicking on the mesh and then using control to select the rig. Use control when you're in the outliner, use shift when you're in the 3D viewport. All right, so with that selected, I'm going to right click, I'm going to do a parent, and I'm going to go to armature deform. That just connects the two without any weights or anything else. It's just connected. And the reason why I do that is because if I don't, this next step really won't work. So I'm going to hold this armature, hold shift, click on the mesh head, and go up to weight paint. And I can see what weights are already on here, right? I can go in here and be like, okay, it looks spine 2, head, neck, blah blah blah, whatever, all these different bones. There's a lot of bones on the Tekken 8 that are not in the Tekken 7. So I'm actually going to just delete these bones, and if you're dealing with a custom mod, there's probably even more bones that don't even work. So for what I'm doing, I'm gonna go ahead and delete all the groups, so I've got no weights on this thing at all. But like I said, when it comes to parenting, you can still move it around. That's good. And I think this might not be the... Oh, okay. I don't have my body attached to this rig. That's why it's not moving. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer some weights, because what I want is the general like shoulder weights for this character. and I don't want to have to paint them myself. So we're going to cheat a little bit. And so to do that, I'm going to select this mesh, hold shift and select this and go into weight paint mode. Go up to get a transfer and hit transfer weights. A little box should show up at the bottom here. Boop. Click on that to expand it. Set your things to nearest face interpolated. Set this, I set it to like 100 because I expanded by 100, but I truly don't know exactly how much or how little and what exactly it does. But I have had success with 100, so that's where I keep it. So basically what has happened is that all the weights that were on the body mesh are transferred over to the head mesh wherever they, as close as they can be to what's shown. But there's no actual head here, right? Because the body mesh is just a body. So I don't get any head weights as a result. But let's take a look at the weights that I did get. So let's go back to, I like this mode for weights. All right, and if I go scroll up to the top here, look, there we go, the head. And you can see that the head is not fully weighted because it's like yellow. Full weight is red, and then it fades down to light blue, then to dark blue, having no weights, and then absolutely no weights at all is that purple. All right, so if I click on head here, right, these are the different weighting setups that they have set, but it's not going to really bother me too much. Really, all I want to do is get the next stuff. So let's see what I want to do. So I'm going to I'm gonna have to clean this up. So let's go to weight paint mode and let's lock all the weights. Lock all. And I'm going to be painting over this section, so I'm going to go ahead and unlock this one. And this section I'm going to paint over. And I'm just going to slide down, come across more weights. And unless there's something major, I'm not going to change it. I'm going to keep it. Okay, cool. So what we want to do is put weights on it on this head. So let's go back up here to the top. And we've got full head and then these two neck offsets. So let's go ahead and unclick this one for head up here. And I'm going to, right now, if I paint on this, I should only be able to paint on the areas that I've unlocked or any area that doesn't have any weights on it at all. So where's my paintbrush? See, it didn't paint because I was clicked on this section. Now, if I click on head, I should be able to paint. See, works great. What I'm also going to do is go here to the tools section, which you can do up here or over here. I'm going to set my option to auto normalize, and I'm going to turn off these mirroring sections. I don't need it. I want to paint through the entire mesh, so I'm going to make sure that my brush is set to mix and my fall off is set to projected. This will allow me to punch weights right through as long as I'm on the correct group. So if I go boop, you'll see it on both sides. Whereas if I set it to sphere, make sure I'm on the right thing, paint this section, it's only on one side. And then also, let's see, is it working? All right, so that's not working exactly how I want to. And it might be because this body is using a different head weight. So let's take a look here at this rig. And I'm just clicking down till I get to the head. Okay, and this is using lowercase head. So what I'm going to do is go over, let's go to this mesh. I'm going to go to head, right? And I'm just going to change this to lowercase head. Now, when you're changing these vertex groups, things move, everything in 3D kind of moves through a hierarchy, right? As you can see here, this bone tree of all the different stuff. This is attached to this, is attached to this, blah, 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 whatever. So in this case, um, if I change the vertex groups, right, they're assigned to the bones. If I changed, so if I have a mesh that is parented to an armature with bones on it, and I have a vertex group that was made off of those bones, and I change the vertex group name, then that area of the mesh will be associated with whatever bone or area has that name. But the bone stays the same. Now, if I want that bone to be readjusted, like I don't, like say it was a head bone with a capital HEAD and a head vertex group, and I wanted it to be lowercase head, not caps, um, I would want to change the bone name for it, right? So you'd have to go into edit mode, click on your bone, change the bone name, be good. And it will change it for both the bone name and the mesh. But I digress. So, well, let's get this thing on here. So I'm going to click on the bones and then click on this. Go to weight paint. And if I click on here, we can see that it moves around, right? But we need it to be full. I also need to check to make sure that I'm not going to paint over the other areas. Okay, cool. Now that the naming is set for this area, because the capital head is not on the in the bone listing, so it's like there's no point blocking that area out. And that has a purpose, but nothing that we need to discuss here. So basically, I'm just giving all of these weights that are unlocked. I'm just going to paint them to the head. I don't know why this little belt piece is set like that, but whatever. We'll see if it matters in just a second. Okay, so with my head bow selected, I can move around and see how it looks, right? And I'm like, it's kind of okay, kind of not okay. Like, what do I want to do, right? Oh, so I'm going to go ahead and smooth some of this up. So let's go here. And this is our blur tool. And for this one, because this is I call it a universal bone, like it's a center bone, I think it's okay to use this symmetry. All right, and I'm just smoothing this out a little bit so that when his head goes up, it doesn't look all crazy. I will bring his head down. Cool. Same thing in the back a little bit. Except for in this case, I want the head to kind of like fold into the body. So let's see what the weight is back here. So I want to unclick this so I can go through this stuff. And let's see, let's go look at the back, the head. So we've got the neck area. And then we have this area here. So this is spine 2. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock spine 2. Boom. So that I can paint on it. And I'm going to give spine 2 more power. So I've got this set to mix. If I want to be careful on it, I can bring the strength down. And I'm going to keep it at projected so I can paint right through it. I've got this one also just in case. And what I'm doing is painting the areas near the neck, because when this head moves back, I'd rather it fold in like this than the way it was doing it before. I'm also going to fix this weight here because I don't like how that strap is being like stretched all crazy. So we're going to go back to head, just type in head, boom. And I'm going to hold, you can use F to make this bigger and smaller. Once it's set, so you'll hit F to get in the sizing mode and then just move your mouse around, make it bigger or smaller. All right, so let's go ahead and paint this area. And I'm going to bring the strength all the way up so I don't have to spend forever on this. And I'm also going to go ahead and unlock everything now. Unlock all, because I wanted to paint through that really quick. All right, but boom. So now we got quick to the head. It could probably be touched up a little bit, but I don't know how high his head goes. I think this is fine. We can blur it a little bit here, blend it. All right. And to test this out, I'm essentially just hitting R is the rotate button. And I've got my smoothing tool on here. So it looks just a little bit better. And you can see now that when I do that, it kind of clips that a little bit. Um, but it's no real big deal. So I'm not gonna mess with it. It's just a fun quick mod. If I wanted to, I can make this a little bit bigger around the neck. So when it folds back, it's not gonna show anything. But it is what it is. Okay, so we've got this now attached to this character, right? If I click on this bones, go to pose mode. I guess I actually have to click on it. Okay, so go into here, pose mode. I'm looking for like a base bone or any bone, really. Move it all around. Everything moves. Body doesn't move because it's not attached to anything. I don't need that body for right now, so I'm not gonna keep it. All right, perfect. So essentially, that's all I need to do for the 3D weighting portion of it. You can make it simpler and just paint it to the head and the body, or whatever. But here we go. Now this has one material on it, so let's take a look and see what that looks like. So let me click on. I'm gonna hit backspace so it's just the head. I'm gonna click on materials here, and I see that it's for this head. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit use nodes. If you don't use nodes, you're just using this basic stuff here. But we're gonna use nodes so we can make a nice PBR material. Shift A. And you could wait to do all this stuff in UE, but I like to see what I'm doing, so I set it up in Blender. So set up an image node, and you can go to your latest folders where you have stuff open. So I'm gonna try to find whatever folder I had before. That's not it. I think this is it. All right, I'm gonna go up because I was in the meshes folder. Go textures, and here are my textures. So in Blender, there's no real good drag and drop like from externally, but in here I can do this. So I've got this one set up. This is what I'm gonna open, but I'm gonna grab all the other pieces here. So we'll grab this, grab this, grab this, grab this, and then I'll just select this. Okay, so what is this? This is an RMA. I'll unhook that. Now, if we want to see the materials on here, we'll go and click on this viewport shading at the top. But I'm going to move these over. I'm going to look for, so I want this C, the C add, and an ID if they have one. Okay, we got an ID map. So Tekken 8 uses ID maps for just about everything. So we're going to plug that into the color, and here we go. I'll kind of show you how this works. If I go into image editor, I can find this ID map. I'll just hit ID because it's already open. Take a look at it. So when I look at this, I'm seeing multiple values of red and then yellow. So the way color works in channels, you have RGB. And then if you mix two of the channels together, you'll get the other color. So you have RGB, and then you get cyan by mixing, I believe, green and blue. You'll get yellow by mixing red and green, and then you'll get that pinkish color by mixing red and blue. But I digress. So what we need is a way to split this up. And so we're gonna go into our shader, and I have a blend file that I believe I put out publicly. I'll have to double check. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna append those nodes because I think they should still be good. I can't remember where I put it though. That's not it. There you go. Test. And let's see, where is it? Thought I made a special one for it, but maybe I did not. But I believe my Leroy is available in in my purge file. So I'm either gonna go in here to my nodes stuff. Where my nodes at? Node tree. And let's take a look. I got an ID color one. And I believe that's the one I want. So I just added it here. So when I hit Shift A and then S to search, I can type in ID. Now I have my little node. I believe this one, this might be an older one. So maybe I'll make a new one here and show you guys how to make one. This shouldn't take too long. All right, so basically what I want to do is I need to split these hues up. So I'm going to turn this into a channel packed node, and it just makes sure Blender knows that there's different channels to look through. I'm going to hit Shift A, search, and I'm going to make a separate color node. Kind of show you what's happening. Plug that in. You can see that I have several different hues, and then this is all white, this is lighter, and this is such. And I'm going to hit Shift A, search. I'm going to make a color ramp. And the purpose of this color ramp is to isolate certain colors. And so I believe I can use constant. So let's switch it to constant. Right. And so I've got white and black. And as you can see, as I move it around, different things change. So I'm pretty sure that these are going to be their own thing. So, and this is from like '50 or whatever. But I try to keep it as close to the edge. So I'm going to make this one 0.80. All right, so that's going to be one of my colors. And now I'm going to hit Shift D. We'll put green. And I'll plug this one in. And now I want, oh, not green, sorry, red. So now let's get a bigger area. But I want to create, I want this one to be white. So let's move this in there. And I don't want, I want just the belts. All right, so I just got the belts here, and I don't want this part. All right, so we'll do that. And let's take a look at where this one at. So that's at like 0.6. Let's see if I can get this one up to 0.8 without it affecting anything. And that works out great. And then let's see where this one starts to impact stuff. So this is impacting at like 0.1. So let's make this like right after there. So we'll say 0.5. And now let's grab another one. And if I want to look at the different shades to kind of get an idea, I can go into the image view and go to this little side here, go to that color, I go to red. I see this bright white, I see this lighter one, I see this one and this one. So there's about 4. The most that they use for the Tekken 8 values is 4 per channel. So there's up to 16 colors with every ID map that they have the option to use. And in some of these designs, they use all of them. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to need 4 of these most likely. So now let's move this color down and get some more. I guess I actually have to Plug this one in. Okay, and now let's bring this one down. And so we'll say let's say 0.5 for that. And here we're at what, like 0.2? Cool. And I don't know if there's one below it, so let's see if there is. Okay, it looks like the base there. Okay, so that's the mask. Okay, so this is like 0 to whatever. Hey, get over here. Alright, so it's like point, so we'll say 0.2. So I'll make this one 0.2 and let's make this one point. Make sure I got the right one selected. This one here, yep. Make this 0.205. Nice. All right, now you're like, okay, these are all split. What do I do with that? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this into a node group, right? So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to make it a group. And now I'm going to connect these all to different outputs. And I believe that the IDs move from brightest to darkest. And I did some math to kind of figure it out, but typically, yeah, I'm not going to get all of that right now. But this is how to set up a 4-color split. There's a 3-color and a 2-color split. 2-color is pretty simple, but the 3-color is a little bit different. I believe they use this one, like number 1, number 2, and number 4. Or they use 3 and number 4. I can't remember. But I'm just going to label these real quick. Call this one 01, 02, 03, 04. Nice. And we'll call this, I'll just say ID mask. And that just means when I go back here and take a look at it, I can plug in my ID mask and know what it is. But I'm going to go back into here and say this ID mask channel. Nice. All right. So I set this up by channel. So I would just need one of these for each of my channels. So in this case, I've got green. So I can shift D. Let's name this thing. Say ID split. I like this one better. All right, I hit shift D and hook up the green. And now I can see which one is, I can see if if one of these are selected. So I'm like, okay, cool. Number 1 is selected. Nice. Let's take a look here. What about 2? Oops. Anything showing up for 2? Nope. 3? Nope. 4? Okay, so 4 is showing everything for some reason. Except for that. Oh, because it's the opposite of this one. Right? So, yeah. We're just using one. Come on. All right. Now to set these up is it can feel a little bit confusing, but it's just kind of like pass through, right? Each of these are a mask. All the white parts are going to be what you can color, and all the black parts is what it's going to ignore. So I'm going to use a mix node. So Shift A, search, type in mix color. And what I do is I set the factor down to 0, right? And then I just make a copy of it, and I connect these two. And I'm connecting this result to the A. And then I'm gonna hit Shift D and drop another one right in between it, and Shift D and drop another one in between it. And with this setup right here, it doesn't matter if I have it selected to a color or anything, because the factors are automatically 0 until I put something there. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just make these a color. So I'll usually make this first color black. I'll make this one red. This one will be green. This one will be blue. And then I can make this one, say, red and green. Make it yellow. But because we have yellow for this one, I'm going to do the different combination. And we'll make this one, oops, cyan. And now I'm going to grab another one. And that's going to go down for here. And we'll set this one to that magenta color. Nice. All right. Now we need to hook them all up. So to do that, super simple. Just connect each of these to their factor. And then you can connect your result to your color. And boom, everything is colored. Now we're not including this yellow piece because it's not hooked up. So to hook it up, I'm going to do the same thing, except now I'm going to bring this one over to the A and bring it over here. And I like to keep them in like rows of the colors so that I kind of know what's associated with what. And now I need to hook up the factor to it. All right. And so now we see we've got that pink piece, the red piece, and all that goodness. So now if I want to change these colors, I could change these colors to whatever I want to. And I can set up masks for other stuff, for using substance and whatever. All right, so that's kind of like the biggest chunk of this thing. So I'm going to move this piece up here, kind of leave it where it is. Let's take a look at the other things. So if I've got an RMA, texture, it's a super simple setup. We'll use another separate color. Make sure this is channel packed. And traditionally, they're in order. So this would be R for roughness, M for metallic, and A. And this particular setup is usually for ambient occlusion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this easier on myself for right now. And I'm going to turn this into a group right here. I'm going to change these names. And the reason I'm doing that is because I can go ahead and save this project and then save these nodes. And then just like I appended that one node over, I can append these nodes into any new projects I'm working. So we'll just say rough, metal, AO. And then I'll type in RMA. All right, so this will be RMA. All right, and then I can just plug them in. And I like these also, and this is gonna get, I'll show you how to hook this one up. It gets hooked up into the color. But I like using this setup also because I can change the order, right? It can just be like blue. And now it looks neater and cleaner. All right, and you can see it's starting to affect, right? Because each of these colors are a mask, just like before. So if I look at it, you see, look, there we go. Roughness, it's shiny. This is showing the different areas, such, blah, blah, you know. But they act like masks as well. Those were the points. What was it getting at? All right, cool. So that covers that. Let's see. What else? We have C, that's for color. So I'm gonna move that up here. What's this one? It's for color add. We'll look that one up in a second. What else we got? All right, so we got OBD. So if you got an OBD texture, this one is opacity. I don't know what the B is for because there are usually nothing in them. So I'm gonna hit Shift A, search, separate colors. And you can do this to kind of check to verify what's going on. So I can hook up this red one to my base color and it's all white. And this looks darker, but that's because these ones are hooked in. I can unhook them. And now it's just all white. So that's my alpha, my transparency. Look, green. Green is usually just all black. So I don't know what green is for in this OBD texture. I'll have to do some more research. And D is for dirt. There you go. Look how dirty that crap is. So when your character gets dirty, this mask gets activated. And I'll show how to set that up as well, but I'll do that later. All right, I got a couple more maps down here. So we have a TSE. So a TSE is, I want to say it's translucency, a specular, and emissive. And so the way I've been using it, I've been using the translucency with the emissive. So I'll use the translucency as the strength for the emissive, and then emissive, of course, for the emissive color. So separate. I'll make sure this one's channel packed as well. This one's channel packed. So I'll set this to strength. Set this all the way up here to specular. I'll set this one into emissive. There we go. And you see how the specular kind of like dulls it out a little bit. It kind of evens things up. And we're going to unhook this. Bring back our crazy colors. We're going to go ahead with our metal, our roughness, etc. And I'm going to put this in a group as well, even though it's simple. And this is the OBD. So we'll say OBD. And we'll say opacity. IDK, because I don't know. And then dirt. I'll do the same thing here. This is for TSE, for say translucency, specular, and emissive. And I'll say, yeah, we'll just call that. Right? And let's move specular to the top and then emissive in the middle. So let's move specular up top and emissive in the middle. And now it looks a little bit cleaner there. Nice. All right. And what do we have left? We got a normal map. So Unreal Engine uses DirectX and Blender uses OpenGL, and the biggest difference is that the green channels are flipped. So let's go ahead and set this up. So we'll separate color. Boom. We'll just set this one to non-color for now. I'll do the same thing, but we're going to combine color now. Combine. Hook up red to our red, our blue to our blue. We'll hit Shift A, search, and we're looking for an invert. So I make an invert. I plug the green in, plug the green in. Cool. Now we need a normal map, so I'll hit Shift A, S, type in normal map. And this allows the normal maps to get processed correctly. So you'll drop that in there. Now, once again, let's make a group. So we'll make a group. Cool. And I try to make this universal, right? Because if I decide to do some custom things and move things on my own, or I'm not sure if my normal map is OpenGL or DirectX, I want to make sure I have two options just from the get. So I'll set this one and I'll call this one flipped. Um, and I'm gonna hit Shift D, and I'm gonna take this same input, and since I don't have to do any of this math, I'm just gonna connect it right there, and then we'll just bring this one over here, and we'll say flipped normal, and just regular normal. I don't want to say OpenGL or DirectX because I don't know what I'm bringing in. I just want to know, do I need to get it flipped or not? I want them to look good in Blender, and then I can bake them out, and then I'll have to flip them anyways after I bake them. Okay, cool. So there we go. Another thing you can do is you can set the strength to be controlled from the outside. So I'm going to set my strength there and set my strength here. And that way, this one input of strength will affect both of these regardless of which one I choose. So get out of here. Let's call this one normal adjust. Well, now I've got this to use whenever I want to. Nice and easy, takes up a lot less wires. Plug it right into my normal, and I'm good to go. Very nice. Okay, so now we've got color. So let's take a look at color. All right, so here we go. This is our color that we have, which is just pretty much like a dark shaded mask. So what I typically do is I plug that one in last. So I have my mask colors up here, and I could put these into a group, but it can get messy no matter how it's set up. But I just keep these kind of like off to the side. But I'm going to need another mix color node. All right, and let's go ahead and unconnect this. Okay. And my music turned off, but whatever. Okay, so the way this is going to work is I'm going to plug this one into the bottom, and I'm going to plug this one in the top. And I want this color to overlay on here. So people use multiply or overlay. I think overlay is the better version, but it is what it is. So set that to overlay, and let's plug it in. That's all skinny out. All right, and we'll see that that color is sitting over top of this, but it's really light. So let's switch this around, or set that up, or push this all the way. Cool. There we go. So now it's like a one-to-one blend across the board. Let's take a look at our color add map. And I believe it should be set up like this. Color add goes into this factor, and then it goes in. Or maybe it's the other way around. Is it this one? And then this one? I don't know. The color add is still a bit of a mystery for me. So I'm going to plug this one in just like that. And then I'm just going to add it. So I hit Shift A. Actually, just hit Control or Shift D to duplicate it. And in this case, we'll do an overlay as well. Oops, we'll overlay this. And I think it adds some additional detail. But I'm not exactly sure how it's supposed to be in there. Do we want to like multiply that? It's like super dark. I don't know. You can kind of play with it. But I'm just going to keep it with overlay. I think it looks a little bit more crisp. And we're set. So the AO is an actual map, but a lot of times what will happen is that the AO will just be blended with the multiply, against, it tries to create like the shadow between things. So it's often just a multiply in most programs. So we're going to go ahead and find the AO, which is coming out of here. Plug that in the bottom and set this one to multiply. All right, and it gives it a lot more depth. And there we go, our multicolored skull mask. All right, looks pretty good. Okay, so that's all the major stuff hooked up. So what you can also do, and we'll do this, we're gonna combine this one more time. But let's go. Get over here, this over here. Let's set up this dirt mask. So we're gonna use another mix node. So we're gonna hit Shift D, and we want to mix this dirt color over top of our design here. So let's change some of these colors around to kind of get what we want. So let's switch this to like a, make this like a, I don't know, some type of like metally goldish, but not quite gold. And we got these straps in the back. Let's make these straps like black, but we'll give it a little bit of a wear to it. All right, what's red here? Red is that. Let's make the red, make the red like white. All right, cool. And then we've got these pieces here, which are down here. Let's go ahead and make these. Now let's make these the same color as this. Oh, you could drag and drop the colors from other things, but you can't always use, you can't really use this outside of Blender, which I think they're fixing in the newer versions, which is kind of cool. All right, and then this light color back here. We'll make this, let's grab this brown. It's kind of dark. Just create like a little bit off. Now we got this nice grunge color. Okay, so this is that. Let's try something. I'm gonna click this into here, right? Now I'm gonna see what, can I add like another tone to the color? Yeah, let's do that. So I'm gonna add like a reddish tone on top of it. Maybe let's make it a little bit more. All right, I like that. So instead of using it as just a multiply, I decided to take whatever the white parts are of that color add and give it an additional tone, kind of like a subsurface, except for material items. All right, look where you go. Maybe I want my stuff shinier. This is where the ID stuff works in. So let's see. Well, let's set up the dirt mask first. All right, so I've got my dirt mask right here. I'm gonna hit it. I need to create um watch. Okay, so here's how I do my dirt mask, because I may not want the dirt mask on all the time. So first, let's set up the dirt mask itself. So we'll take this dirt mask and throw it on, and the factor here, we'll put it on the top, right? So whatever's on the top, this is going to be the black parts, the bottom will be the white parts, right? And we're going to, instead of a multiply, we're going to use a mix node, which just drops it right on top. And now you see there's like white stuff everywhere. And we'll switch it, I always switch it to red because it shows up, and now you just look like you got this dirty, bloody mask. Ooh, it's crazy. Right? Nice. And maybe I don't want that mask on like that. So what I do is I create another mix node. I'm just in love with the mix color node. It's so useful. All right. And I plug this one into the bottom. I plug this unchanged one into the top. I keep this as mix and then I plug that in. So what that allows me to do is to switch between the two. The um, full bloody or no bloody at all. Another cool thing that I can do if I want to is change the kind of how that mask is split, kind of make it more fine or more broad. And what I mean by that, so what I can do is I can take let's see, that's the place. I'll grab a color ramp, drop it on here, and I can change the white amount, I believe. See that? And now like it gets stronger. You kind of mess with that. Just put it's all over the place. Right. So you can play around with a bunch of different things. The only thing with the color ramp node is you can't automate it. It's just how it's set up in here. I think you have to use a map range node, and I'm not really good at using those right now, so I just keep it like this. But I can still turn it all off and on. And of course, you could change the blend settings if you want to something other than mixed if you know what you're doing. Or if you just want to play around. Either way. Okay, so now we got this whole setup and it looks super confusing. And hopefully I didn't make it too crazy. But this is a pretty basic shader um, when you're doing tech and stuff. They have several different setups for this. We're on the close one, TSE. So there's like a TSE, there's an OBD, there's an MTM, there's a bunch of them, and I think we're going to be putting together like a list of what those shaders are and how to get split. But usually a shader is split just like this, with the first item being shown in the in the suffix or the prefix of any texture, and that's a general practice thing for most modding and stuff like that. So let's set this one to channel pack. All right, so we're gonna get this bad boy in the game, but I want these metal things like super metal. So let's take a look at the color for that. So I believe that's this color here. So that's ID1. So what I can do is I can grab this, this, and this, hit Shift and D, and I just want to make it a group real quick, and I'm gonna grab this ID out. That way I have this little baby one. I'm bringing that over here because I'm going to use it as a mask and set it up with my roughness. So I'm going to look for my roughness, which is, well, before I do that, we're going to clean this all up. And so to clean all this up, I'm going to make yet another node group. And I'm just going to select all of these. And I'm going to make a group. Make a group. There we go. Now it looks like a hot mess. So let's make it a little bit clearer. So I've got the OBD coming in, and let's make sure I have these properly named. So it's RMA, OBD. So, oh, what's the right order? So I've got, yeah, let's put them in whatever order. Let's move. So this one, this third color is a normal. So 1, 2, 3. It's normal. And let's move that to the bottom. There we go. That's good. This one is TSE. And that could be wherever. And then you can make them small by just clicking on. Boop. And RMA is named, so I don't need to do anything there. And this bottom one is color. And let's move this one to the top. There we go. All right, so now for these ones, for these items, I can just bring them right in, right? I can just bring them right in and plug them right up. So as long as I'm using these different setups, then I'm good. So if you've got shaders for other games, you can do a similar thing, right? And you can still do more stuff. And let's clean up this side because that looks all junky as well. Let's bring this stuff closer. So we'll go. So I want metal, then spec, and roughness. So let's go here. So yep, so let's get that metal. Specular. And roughness. And I believe normals at bottom, alpha, I think emissive. Or opacity is all the way down here. Alright, well, let's just take a look. Did I get it? Are they all in order? Nope. I just want one normal to go down. Alright, there we go. Nice. So I'll call this one RMA, TSC, OBD. Right. Now, if I shift a search, I can type in RMA and I can say, oh, there it goes. And then I have the little RMA if I want to use the little RMA, or I can use the combined one. Nice. All right, so that looks a lot cleaner, but I still need this little ID guy. And I'm not going to name him anything special because it's only a one-time use. Just so I can get over here and things not be too messy. So once I have my basic set up, I can start making some additions if I want to. So let's see, roughness, right? I want my roughness. So I'm gonna hit Shift A, mix color, because you know I love the mix color. And maximum roughness. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this roughness that's set up already with a mask, and I'm gonna plug it into here. I'll plug this guy into my factor, right? Because this is gonna give me the piece that I need. I don't remember which piece I was actually looking for, to be honest. Um, what? I don't think that was. I don't think I was thinking straight. Here's something here. Plug that in. Oh, this part is including that part too, which I don't like. But it is what it is. That's fine. I want all that parts to be metal, anyways. but yeah. So let's go ahead and make this part shiny. So I've got this ID mask here, and I'll just call this one ID um 1. And I'm calling it 1 because that's what should be in the game as well. There were groups of 4, so 1 through 4, and then 5 through 8, that whole deal. Okay, but I digress. So I plugged in the map for roughness here, and then maximum roughness, 0 roughness. All right, so let's set it to 0 roughness and plug this into the roughness channel or roughness spot. Now it should be as shiny as it can be. And I also want to do a similar thing to the not roughness, the metallic. So metal, let's plug the metal into the top here. Grab this, plug this in there. But in this case, metal is maximum white. There we go. Yeah. All right, so increase the metalness, whatever. But everything else should stay the same. All right, cool. So let's replug these colors back in. And now my metal is more metally. Very nice. Not bad. And I believe this has more detail that goes into like the back piece here with the other ID masks, which I'm not going to go into right now. But the concept is essentially the same, where you're blending and using the mixed colors to kind of bring your stuff in. So it can get a little bit confusing, but the more you practice at it, the more it becomes second nature, and the more you'll see it in other programs if you decide to venture out. All right, so let me save this. Should have been saving this the whole time. But you know, say demos. T8 skull mask. All right, there we go. We got a cool mask. But these textures don't really work with Tekken right now, so we're gonna need to bake them. We're gonna need to bake these textures. So I think that's it for the initial setup. Now it's time to get some textures baked. So in Tekken, the base material is typically just a mask map, a diffuse map, and a normal map. And then there's a default specular that is usually applied, and you can change the metalness and roughness overall. So, and then roughness is also packed into the alpha channel of the normal map. So there's that. And I'm wondering, and I don't know if they've got metalness set into a map somewhere else. I wasn't able to tell in my research, but that's fine. We should be able to do okay without it. So what the game does, for a lot of things, is if it's very metal, like they'll use like the same material but with different properties. And I don't know if these break up very well. Let's see. So I'm gonna go into this mode, right? And there's only one material, so I can't really split by material. But what I can do is go into the UV section, right? See, okay, all these UVs. And I want these belts. And I want to separate these belts, but I don't want to have to like do all of them. So I'm gonna set this to sync, and then I'm gonna hit L to select, and I'm gonna say by UVs. So I select this, and I'm like, okay. So that tells me that all of these are probably those belts. So I'm gonna hit C. You can't really see it with this map here, but if I C, it creates this little circle, and then I can just drag and get rid of stuff. If I want to unselect stuff, I can hold Shift, and then as long as I'm holding down on the mouse, it'll keep removing stuff. And then you right click to exit that mode. So let's just go into here. What I'm going to do is just select portions of all of these, and if I hit Control L, it should select everything. But I think there's some more pieces. It looks like this is a piece. And we need these belt pieces too, right? So where is that belt piece? So it looks like these bad boys I'm gonna need. And all of these. All right, nice. What else we got? Oh, we need the sides of these things. Where are the sides? The sides got their own section as well. Okay, so it's all of these. Boop. And these look like the little pins. Okay, so these long pieces. Oh, that one almost got away. I'm just gonna assume these guys. Because I'm not really seeing any long pieces. Um, yeah, I'm gonna assume these pieces. Boop, 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 boop. Let's grab these pieces. Control L. Nice. I probably every single one of these. Just grab them. Well, what are these? Let's see. I don't know. But I probably need them. All right, and I'm gonna hit H to see if I got everything, which I didn't. So probably all of these things I'll need. And you know what would actually probably be an easier thing? I'm gonna hit L on the mask and hit H. There we go to hide that. L on this to hide that. There we go. That's doing a lot better. L to hide this little nose piece. Instead of grabbing the little pieces, let me just get rid of the big pieces, right? And I'm not getting rid of them, I'm just hiding. All right, we're like, okay, cool. I wonder if I say select by normal, if it'll give me more of it. Oh, is that a piece? What is that? All right, there we go. And I'm pretty sure all of these, or actually, no, we're gonna keep those because they're metal. All right, so there's our metal pieces. Let's go ahead and, oops, uh, not this piece. L, but A to select everything, and I'm going to separate by selection. So now those are their own piece. And so I can make this one its own. And what I like to do is keep the same material base. So this one is like skull. So let's look up for skull, rename it. And I can hit this button here that makes it unique. And now we'll just type in metal. And that way I'll have a separate material to use in Unreal Engine that will be compatible with everything I want. And I'm going to see if updating the normals will have any benefit. All right, so I'm going to hit Alt H to bring everything back. Select everything, go up to meshes. Say clean up, or not clean up merge by distance, but normals. Average by face weight. Yeah, I like that. Like the way that looks. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. Everything is set up color-wise. Um, I've got this set to its own thing here. So I could amp up the metallic just by itself if I wanted to. So just go into here and I can just be like, unplug the metallic and just be like, bam, full metallic. Same thing with roughness. I could change the roughness. Um, Actually, I have to make sure that the material is selected. So I'm gonna actually do the cheap way, and I'm gonna delete this one. Oh, and when you delete it, it's just left with whatever. So there we go. I can control the roughness, metallic directly. Do the same thing with specular. This might be a little bit too much. Oh, it's got some shine, but it's not crazy. All right. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I think they should. Are they separated? I'm gonna go ahead and rejoin these, right? When you rejoin them, you want to make sure, or you're joining any objects, you want to make sure you have the same UVs because whatever you join it to is going to be the master holder of the UVs. So you can lose UVs if you're not careful. So I'm going to click this one. They both have the same UV map name, and then hold shift and join. And I'm fine with that because there's two different materials. So if I need to separate it later, I can always just go into here and select by that material. And if I say I wanted a section right here, like say I'm like, oh, I want to paint that area, right? Then I can either set a face map for it or a different vertex group for it, or I can assign it to another material and use that. There's a bunch of different options that you have when you're making your stuff. All right, cool. So we've got this thing here. Yeah. Let's see. Next step. Let's go ahead and bake this material. So I'm gonna go into shader, and I use text tools for just about everything. I know it works up to 3.6. I do not know if it's ready for the Blender 4.0 series. All right, but we're going to UV editor, and I mean, I guess I could set up a color mask. Okay, let's see. We'll do it a traditional bake real quick, and then I'll show you text tools bake. So traditional bake, I'm gonna hit Shift A, search, type in image, and get image texture. I'm gonna set new. I'm gonna type in bake, and then say color. We'll say diffuse. Right. I'm gonna select both of these, and I'm gonna just do I will do high. 40, 96. Okay, nice. So I've got this. If I want to bake, I have to do it in cycles. I'll switch this over to GPU. All right. You want to make sure that you have a UV selected. So what I'm going to do, I like to bake to a new UV. So make sure that it's going to bake to whichever one is highlighted. This is the active one you're viewing. This is the one that's actively selected, um, that you can bake stuff to or whatever. You can bake over your normal map as well, uh, but sometimes that messes things up or gives you circular references. But I digress. Okay, so I made my blank texture. I'll slide this window over here. Open up an image editor. Take a look at it. Bake diffuse. It's blank. All right, so go into this mode. We're going to go down to bake. And I'm going to pick diffuse and see what we get. And I'm going to turn off direct and indirect and just do a color. And then hit bake. It's taking a while. I don't know why. I don't think I'm going to wait super long. It's got a couple seconds to speed up. All right. No, no, I'm not doing that. Let's see. What are my render settings? I mean, they're not too high. Let's see. Where's my emissive? Oh, look. There it goes. Trying to bake it. It's just taking forever. And it's not any of the colors that I want. So, let's see if this little trick works. All right, so my base color here, plug my base color into the emissive in this case, since emissive isn't really doing anything right now. All right, so we'll set that into the emissive, and let's bake our emission or emit. I'm just gonna bake right over it. Bake. I'm not going to sit and bake. All right. I don't know. There's tips out there to bake faster, but I ain't baking like that. So instead, I'm gonna go over here to UV editor. I got text tools loaded up already. It's a really easy to find. It's free. It's out there. We go to baking tab. Let's go to base color and see what we get. All right, look, there we go. Base color, but it's all black and white. I don't want black and white. Um, so I hooked it up to the emissive. Sometimes text tools will do that if you have too many uh things going on. It's like I can't understand. So we're gonna do an emission. And that's why. Did I unplug it for some reason? Oh, oh no, for this one. And we're gonna make sure this one's set the same. Result into emission. And there's no real emissive with this design, so it's not really gonna affect anything. But if there was, I would switch it back. Oh, it's just giving me, it's not giving me my color. I'll unplug the emission strength and see if it does not want to bake it. I'm not sure why. Switch back over to EV. All right, so it doesn't want to bake in emissive. It doesn't want to bake it there. Let's try diffuse. It's all black. All right, so all my normals are facing the right way. Sometimes it does this, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just Blender being tired or there's a way to fix it. I want to go ahead and delete these. Try this again. Yeah, I do not know why it does that. I wonder if I can just plug this directly in. Let's see. All right, now let's see if it works. I don't know if this is gonna work. I never tried this to be honest. It's just giving. It's not taking in the color. That's the thing that's kind of like blowing my mind right now. Like, why is it not taking in the color? I am quite confused. It's just all black. Just, just don't have any luck. I be doing stuff. I've been modding all day. I ain't coming to this issue at all till I start streaming. Hmm. All right, so I want to make a new stack. Right. Plug this in. Change this to like green. Bake it. A base color. And it's just like, nah, bro. I'm not doing it. What about an emissive? Uh, Come on, it's gotta give me an emissive. Nah, it's just gonna give me a white emissive. Just give me no color. That's crazy. Oh, what? Control C. What did I unplug? Oh wait, no. This is my reference. I think I have these materials switched around too. Let's see, select. Yeah, what's my metal not look metal no more? Oh, the emission. Whoa. That didn't do anything. Why? What did I switch around? What is going on? That's not the problem. Oh. Crapping something. Pull that out, right? Color goes away. Look at that there. That's not the way it's supposed to look. I swear it wasn't looking like that earlier. Oh, that going. But I think you can switch or something. Last thing on. Don't say. On it. Opacity. Let's see. Nice. Got these things. I was like, just kind of mess that up. And that. Hole in it, right? Go through. Am quite confused. So there's Robin's bag in there. That didn't change anything. It just seems extra shiny there. For some reason. I'm not quite sure why that is. That looks right, but it shouldn't have all these triangles like this. That don't make no damn sense. I mean, I'm pretty sure I didn't add any. Yeah, I didn't add any things in here. I probably gonna have to stop this stream, go chill out for a second, think about like, you know what I mean? Come back. Look, with no normal looks fine. So maybe my normal's messed up somehow. Okay, so it's got all right. So it's gotta be my normal's messed up somewhere. So I gotta figure out what I'm doing. My normal. I mean, setting. All right, color, red, green. Doesn't matter about the UU map. Oh, that's not the issue. See, sure, some normal maps going in there. That's what it is. Hmm. Wait, I just hit non-color. I thought I just had it as non-color. What the hell, man? Okay, now it looks good again. Like I don't know what happened. Okay. Maybe it'll magically bake now. That'd be great too. Still no color. That's the one thing I'm not getting though. I'm not understanding why there's no color. Like this one shouldn't be black. Uh, I'm gonna have to figure this out. But I think for tonight, I'm gonna take a break. It's late, and the holidays about to hit full swing. So I'm gonna have to come back here, revoice all that stuff, and make this a cool thing. Now, adjust.